The 2025 fantasy thriller Death of a Unicorn has just been released. On the way to a job interview, a father and his daughter were driving when the father, who had a pollen allergy, sneezed uncontrollably. In those few distracted seconds, a white horse suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. By the time Elliot reacted, it was too late. The horse was hit and collapsed to the ground, letting out painful cries. In such a remote area, there was no hospital in sight, so the father decided to put the creature out of its misery. He slowly approached it with an iron rod, but as he got closer, he realized something was wrong. This wasn't a white horse at all. It was a unicorn, and from its wounds flowed bright purple blood. Pacing back and forth, Elliot grew anxious, worried they'd be late for the interview, and that he might even go to jail. At that moment, the unicorn let out a roar, and the horn on its head began to glow, from the inside out, from bottom to tip, emitting a dazzling light. Ridley reached out and touched the horn, and instantly she was transported into a colorful, cosmic world filled with vibrant nebulas, as if she stood at the center of the universe. Elliot stared at Ridley, trapped in a trance, and no matter how he shouted, she wouldn't wake up. So he took the iron rod and struck the unicorn's head. Purple blood splashed onto both their faces. Once the unicorn stopped making any sound, they got back in the car and rushed toward their destination, a lakeside villa. To avoid being discovered, Elliot put the unicorn's corpse in the car. He had been invited to act as the legal proxy for the Odell family. Mr. Odell, now elderly and nearing death, wanted everything in his estate to be properly handled after he passed. Elliot took out the proxy agreement he had drafted, but found the text strangely blurry. When he removed his glasses, he could see it clearly. Somehow, his extreme nearsightedness had miraculously been cured. Meanwhile, Ridley washed her face in the bathroom, trying to snap out of the shock of killing a unicorn. When she wiped her face with the towel she had used to clean off the unicorn's blood, she noticed something incredible. Her acne, which had plagued her for years, had completely disappeared. The towel still had traces of purple blood on it. Ridley suddenly realized the cause of the miraculous healing. At the same time, the unicorn, previously declared dead, suddenly had its horn light up again, regaining life. It pushed its head through the car window in an attempt to escape, but was shot and killed by the head of security. Even though the unicorn was dead, it still held great value. Ridley explained that because she had come in contact with its blood, her acne vanished instantly. Elliot also realized that not only had his nearsightedness healed, but so had his lifelong pollen allergy. Hearing this, the ailing Mr. Odell became extremely interested and immediately asked if there were any side effects. When the two assured him they felt perfectly fine, Odell summoned his medical, research, and security teams. Still mourning her late mother, Ridley flipped through old photos and noticed a unicorn design in the background of one image, a rug. Thinking back to the day's encounter, Ridley sensed a connection and searched online for information about the rug. She discovered that it was one of 7 tapestries passed down from the Middle Ages, telling a story about a unicorn. According to legend, a king sent countless hunters to capture the unicorn, but all of them failed. Eventually, the creature was charmed by a pure-hearted maiden, and the hunters took the opportunity to kill it and bring it to the castle. But inside the castle, the unicorn resurrected and was imprisoned. Soon after, the castle was bathed in blood, slaughtered by the resurrected unicorn. Ever since Ridley had held the unicorn's horn, she felt a strange connection to it. That night, in her sleep, she dreamed of a unicorn running through the forest, as if searching for something.
Ridley, kid there? Come with us.
She suddenly woke up and was taken away by 2 people in hazmat suits. Since Ridley and Elliot were the first to come into contact with the unicorn's blood, Odell ordered the medical team to conduct extensive physical examinations. They confirmed there were indeed no side effects. Dr. Song began presenting the preliminary analysis results, but was abruptly interrupted by her assistant, Dr. Bhatia. Bhatia explained that, strangely, even after death, the unicorn's horn was continuously emitting electromagnetic waves. But everyone was more interested in whether the unicorn's blood could actually cure terminal illnesses, so they ignored Bhatia's comment. Dr. Song then brought out a vial of powdered unicorn horn and revealed that initial tests showed it was even more effective than the blood. Odell, desperate for a cure, urged the doctors to mix the powder into an IV solution and administer it immediately to treat his terminal cancer. He soon fell into a deep sleep, and everyone else left the room, except Ridley, who continued researching the mysterious unicorn tapestries. Shepard approached and suggested printing out the findings to share with the others later. But when he glanced up, he saw something that stunned him. Odell, who had just been on the verge of death, was now standing and walking, without a cane, his back straightened in an instant, looking nothing like a man with late-stage cancer. After a blood test, Dr. Song was speechless. Within just a few hours, Odell's cancer cells had completely vanished. Odell immediately contacted wealthy elites attending the Davos Economic Forum and began selling the powdered horn at $1 billion per gram. The results were extraordinary, and in mere minutes, he had made tens of billions of dollars. Just as they were enthusiastically selling the horn powder, Ridley suddenly poured cold water over their excitement. She shared her research with everyone. If unicorns were real, then the stories on the 7 tapestries must also be true. To avoid the unicorn's revenge, it would be best to release it from the estate and return it to the wild. But with such massive wealth before him, Odell refused to give up. He sternly rejected Ridley's suggestion, saying her words were utter nonsense. Furious, Ridley walked out alone and sat in the car, while the sky above flashed with auroras. The unicorn's corpse had been vacuum sealed and was being moved through a dust-free corridor toward the lab. But just after exiting, the area suddenly lost power. The electromagnetic sensors beeped more rapidly, growls echoed around them, and the auroras grew stronger and were interspersed with lightning strikes. The growls came closer and closer. Dr. Song suddenly felt pain in his chest, and when he lifted her clothes, he saw a massive horn had pierced through his body. Through the plastic film, a larger unicorn could vaguely be seen circling nearby. Ridley, still sitting in the car, used her flashlight to scan the dark surroundings. The unicorn, attracted by the light, charged toward the car. She quickly exited through the side, crawled under the car, and after bracing herself mentally, made a dash toward the locked door. Strangely, the unicorn suddenly calmed down, knelt in front of Ridley, and extended its horn toward her. Just as she was about to touch it, the head of security appeared with a gun, breaking the silence. The wounded unicorn fled the estate. At dinner, the group discussed why the unicorn hadn't harmed Ridley. Recalling that she had touched the young unicorn's horn earlier that day, they guessed that the contact might have formed some sort of connection. Perhaps that's why the unicorn spared her. Determined to monopolize all unicorn resources, Odell formed a 5-person team to track the injured unicorn, calling it the Wounded Unicorn Recovery Mission. Following the trail of blood, they did indeed find the unicorn in the misty forest. Its glowing horn revealed its position. Odell carefully stepped forward, trying to touch the horn, unaware that a larger unicorn had appeared behind him. The head of security was bitten on the spot and vanished into the fog. The 2 unicorns, one male and one female, hid in the dense mist and launched an attack while no one was paying attention. In the end, only Elliot and Odell escaped with their lives, with the unicorns chasing close behind. Meanwhile, Bhatia followed through with the plan and sawed off the young unicorn's horn. The 2 unicorns closed in on Odell from the front and back. He kept trying to soothe them, and maybe it was working. The male unicorn slowly lowered its head. Odell tried to reach out and touch its horn. Just as his hands were about to make contact, the unicorn pierced his skull. The remaining survivors immediately fled into the mansion and locked the doors. After witnessing such horror, everyone now feared the unicorns and realized their lives mattered more. They were about to call the police when electromagnetic interference hit. The power went out and there was no cell signal. After a brief discussion, they decided to return the young unicorn. But another fatal issue arose. If they wanted to escape, they had to open the estate gate, which was locked due to the power outage. The gate could now only be opened manually. So Bhatia was sent to return the young unicorn, and the butler went to open the gate by hand. Although they returned the unicorn, its horn had been greedily kept by Shepard. So when Bhatia pushed the young unicorn before its parents, they noticed its horn was missing. Enraged, the unicorn parents tore Bhatia apart at the waist. Even in this deadly situation, Shepard was still thinking about profiting from the unicorns. In his plan, they would find a pure-hearted girl to lure the unicorn, capture it, and raise it in captivity for breeding. That pure-hearted girl was Ridley. Outside the room, everything suddenly went silent. Thinking the unicorn had left, Belinda leaned close to the wooden bookshelf to listen carefully. Suddenly, a horn pierced through her chest. Belinda was dragged out and savagely torn apart. Shepard quickly pulled out a rocket, preparing to detonate the nearby oxygen tank, but suddenly stopped. He feared that if the explosion killed the unicorn, his plan to breed unicorns artificially would be ruined. So he gave up on saving his mother and watched her get disemboweled before his eyes. Elliot used the broken horn to lure the unicorn away, buying time for Ridley to escape. But they overlooked Shepard behind them. Shepard used a bow to hold Ridley hostage, forcing her to kneel in front of the villa to attract the unicorn. The male unicorn roared and walked toward her. But when it reached her, it suddenly lay down in her arms and fell asleep. It seemed Ridley really was the pure-hearted girl from the legend. Seeing this, Shepard quickly tied up the male unicorn's limbs with rope. Meanwhile, Elliot used the broken horn to lure the female unicorn back to the villa. The female unicorn turned and also came to Ridley, then lay down in front of her and fell into a deep sleep. Shepard immediately tied up the female unicorn too, planning to start breeding unicorns in captivity beginning Monday. As he muttered to himself, Elliot looked back at his daughter. He knew that all she wanted was to return the unicorns to the forest, so he stepped forward and stabbed Shepard with the unicorn horn, stopping his evil plan. Shepard countered with the bow in his hand. As both men collapsed, the sleeping unicorns suddenly awoke. They struggled to free themselves from the ropes tied to their limbs. Shepard stood up, trembling with bow in hand, muttering that just a bit of unicorn blood could heal his wounds. But seeing the unicorns already freed from their restraints, Elliot also died from his severe injuries. As Ridley was overcome with grief, the unicorn walked forward, pulled Elliot's coat, and laid it beside their child. Kneeling face to face, the two horns touched, creating a massive black hole. In the next moment, the wounds on the young unicorn gradually healed, and the severed horn reattached. Elliot was also revived from death. He too fell into the same hallucination, as if standing deep within the universe. The black hole grew larger and larger until it finally exploded and vanished. The young unicorn awoke and left the villa, followed closely by its parents. In the future, they would always stay by their child's side in case it ever faced life-threatening danger again. Before Elliot and his daughter could even rejoice at coming back from the dead, the police arrived and took them away. So many people had died in the villa, they were treated as the murderers. The father and daughter simply exchanged a smile, knowing that even if they told the truth, no one would believe them. Just then, the unicorn family reappeared. Sensing that Ridley was in trouble again, they approached the police car, looked through the window, and with a glance, told them to buckle up, before ramming the police car and flipping it over.